You can go to college completely free. There's a free coding college with no tuition, and it's one of the best schools in the country. You don't have to go into debt to go to college. You need to know this. There's a free of charge coding college that requires no computer skills. You don't need a high school diploma, and the dorms are free. Now, this is a real college, and the name of this college is 42. You can look it up for yourself. It's been around for a few years. The number 42. Now, there are locations in California and the original location in Paris, France. You see, 42 Coding School is an extremely radical educational experiment, and it's geared to solve the tech industry's chronic shortage of skilled programmers. Now, 42's founder, he's a billionaire. He's a telecom executive named Xavier Niel, and he's one of the richest people in France. Now, back in 2013, a reporter for Fortune magazine visited that college, 42, and saw the first batch of students that were moving into the school, literally. And many of them arrived in Paris with no money. They rolled out sleeping bags in this factory-style campus. There were takeout cartons and beer bottles littering the rooms. That's the way it was. Now, the founder's brilliant idea came from his own personal experience. He had no college degree, so he taught himself coding, and he created these programs, including a sex chat app he sold for about $50 million on France's pre-internet Minitel services. He went on to found the publicly traded Iliad, parent of the low-cost telecom company Free, for those of you who've heard of Free. And in 2017, he opened the giant tech incubator Station F in eastern Paris. Huge. Niall is now about 51 years old, and he said that he's convinced that France's traditional education is the worst. It's a system that boxes kids into preordained tracks, and it leaves them bored and uninspired and uncreative, he said. And he said he felt the effects of this in his own companies with the people that he hired. So the founder of the school, Niall, he built 42 with $78 million of his own money. And the school had no fees, no teachers, no classrooms, and students worked their own hours. Can you believe that? But it's true. If they need help, they ask each other or they figure it out for themselves. And in keeping with the rebel spirit, the school's name refers to that counterculture classic, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which says the answer to everything is 42. Now, the first building had a pirate's flag outside. So about 1,800 students are admitted each year between these two campuses in California and Paris. And about 3,000 students are chosen to go through a month-long boot camp. So those 3,000 who are picked from the initial 40,000 people who take 42's online logic test that they give you every year, and by the way, you can take it too if you're interested. Well, that pirate's flag is gone. And now there's only a few sleeping bags in the hallways. The beer bottles are pretty much cleaned up, and the walls now display a very impressive art collection. Money. And President Emmanuel Macron, who's a cheerleader for the French tech industry. He's a frequent visitor there at 42 College. Yet 42 still has a feel of a messy startup with dozens of people at monitors and a stack of skateboards in the lobby. Pretty cool. But how much impact has 42 College had? Nearly 6 years in, or a little more. Now, Niall is convinced that 42 has proven its point, that programmers need only two things to succeed, and that's a grasp of knowledge, of logic, and driving ambition. Let me clear that up. They need a grasp of logic and driving ambition. He says that's all they need. You don't need to know anything to be able to code. You don't need to be good at math, he says. And with 42 School, you can become the best coder in the world. So about 40% of the students that go there, they haven't even graduated high school. They're, they would be considered dropouts. Some of them are millionaires already. But the success rate of 42 School is extremely impressive. Um, Here's some actual proof. Now, these are actual people. These aren't just testimonies. But Jasmine, 26 years old, she joined 42's very first intake after quitting fine art school at age 21 years old. 2 years later, she created an artificial intelligence chatbot called Recast AI with two other students. And they sold that last year, that software, or they sold that last year to a software giant, SAP or SAP. Yeah, and she's currently rich. Benjamins, dead presidents, got lots of money. Another classmate named Balthazar, he was 25 years old. He left Paris in February for the campus in San Francisco, there, Silicon Valley. And he launched a blockchain company called Ashlar. And he's doing very, very well. And the founder of 42, Mr. Niall, says even old-style French companies right now, like banks and old-fashioned houses, they're now actually recruiting 42 students because the word is out of what quality people that are put out from that school. Now, the funny thing is, though, in California, the 42 School, it struggled for credibility. It opened up in 2016, and it really fills only about a third of its capacity of 3,000 students, so there's room for you if you're interested. Niall, the 42 School founder, who is very famous in France, he's a visionary entrepreneur, but he's not that well known in the U.S. Actually, he's virtually unknown here in the U.S. And ironically, a major hurdle for 42 School appears to be also that it's free, despite the fact that American students are crippled by debt here in the USA, but yet they seem to have some trepidation about a school that says, we're free. So, the founder says, when you are tuition free, people think it's a fraud. Keep in mind that 42 was founded in Paris, and the mindset is different in Europe. They don't have that fear of free. So, the hope is to see more schools like 42 here in America, at least have the opportunity. The opportunity should be in America to have this option. I'm convinced that the new millennials, this new group of young people, throughout the world, this current generation, they need a non-traditional path to learning to match the nuances of this new age and time that we're in. Young people, they can't be herded around campuses, on tight schedules like the past because they're busier. A lot of young people today, they already have families. They have a job or two, and in school. They're doing much more than the traditional student of the past. And, traditional ways of learning is okay for some, but not all. And we need that option. And most students here in America are deeply in debt by the time they come out of traditional colleges, and that's not fair. I mean, they could be in their 30s or 40s or beyond before they pay off these student loans. And the other thing is they may never use the curriculum that they learned in these traditional colleges. So, if a school like 42, if that was around when I was in college, I would have jumped on it. I'd have jumped right on that. But thank goodness someone got the idea. I'm glad Mr. Niall got the idea to offer a new way to teach, free-spirited youth of today who, just don't have time to set a schedule and to pay out all that extreme money for 4 years of education that you might not use. So, for some reason, Americans feel that something has to cost a lot to be good. But that's not necessarily true. I'm about to close, but I'm going to do a little sidestep, a little sidebar here for just a second. I have watched American women pay thousands of dollars for a name brand purse, and I won't give the name. But I'm a designer, and one of the things I do is I will take a bag and deconstruct it to see what it's made out of. So I picked up a couple of, and these aren't knockoffs. These are real designer bags, the top 5 names. And if you yourself deconstruct them, you'll find that they're not leather. You're paying thousands of dollars for a bag that's not leather. Now the handle might be leather, it might be embellished with leather, but it's not leather. I'll just say LV, that's not leather. Take one apart. Anyway, so a lot of people here in America think that if it says it's free or it's no good, or if it doesn't cost a lot of money, it's no good. But that's not true. You know, the educational system could use some creativity right now, especially to appeal to the next generation. Um, Maybe when 42 coding school produces enough millionaires and billionaires, people will take notice then. And that is here in America, because they already know the potential of it in Europe. So, you know, taking creative chances and going for a dream or going for your goal or going for a long shot often create $1 million startups and billionaires and app designers and so on. So, you know, I would say don't be afraid to take a chance and check out an alternative educational path. If you know some young person who's free, not married, no children, you know, why not go to Silicon Valley? It's free. Why not go to Paris? It's free, and check out an alternative educational path. And there's other colleges like 42, but don't have the good reputation like 42. And you can take the school test to see if you're eligible online. It's free. And you can just go to 42.us.org, > about. So it's a software engineering program. As I said, there's 2 campuses, one in Silicon Valley and one in Paris. That's in Fremont. The one in California is in Fremont, California. So that's just my help to the world, and for those who want to make a lot of money, go to school, get a degree, but they don't have the money and they want something alternative. Please, please, please check out 42 College. You're going to be amazed that no one has ever told you about it before. As always, I say like and subscribe, share this video, and be a genius. Think for yourself. This is a Marologic channel.